What's up, sports bettors? So we're just going to be placing some bets. College football, NFL, UFC, lots of cool stuff. So I'll put a link in the chat kind of, as well, which hopefully is useful just in terms of viewing, line movement. So what's really cool kind of that you'll notice is as you get closer to game times, and this is for the NFL, I mean, it's for a lot of sports, but the markets are going to move more. So as you get closer to a specific UFC fight, so like whatever is up next in the card, which you can see is going to be Silva versus Ronson, you're going to start to see these lines move like crazy, right? Bet Online just dropped Ronson to plus 105. Bovada has him plus 120. DraftKings has him plus 120. So you'll see it shows you, exactly when the odds change. So Bet Online changed Ronson from plus 107 to plus 105, 28, 29, 30 seconds ago, whatever. So the lines are constantly moving, which is pretty cool and also just pretty useful to watch. It's another way to view data, especially when markets are really moving or after a player injury, like if LeBron gets injured. You want to see what happens to the Lakers lines. What are all the sports books updating to? You can kind of see that here, right? As a trader, it's kind of like your Bloomberg terminal. See where all the lines move, due to whatever. So it's not perfect. It's still in beta, it's new. But what you'll see is like, hey, they keep dropping Ronson every sports book. They just dropped it from plus 115 to plus 113. Maybe we want to dabble plus 120, right? Bet Online only has it plus 105, whatever. So it's just kind of another way of, looking at odds. So what we can do is actually just dabble a little, maybe on Ronson. And what you can also take a look at is just the exchanges, which we'll try to get on the screen here in a second, but it's super, super powerful, right? Like being able to see just kind of like all the data side by side. So Ronson, maybe you want to play him, maybe you don't, whatever. But maybe we play him small, just to kind of show the purpose of the screen and, finding value enough to beat the vig, checking location, okay? Please give me Ronson plus 120. Okay, so that's the first play we'll lock in on this live stream. Again, we've been tracking profit and loss, on the live stream. This sheet should be in the description on YouTube. If not, it should be in the last live stream or some of these full-length ones. But regardless, so UFC money line, we have them for $100 at plus 120 odds, and this game is today. So Jesse Ronson, UFC money line, watching the markets move. Pinnacle just moved down to plus 103. Bet Online moved down to plus 103. So they keep moving down, right? They move from plus 113 to plus 103. So they're clearly taking some action on Ronson. In DraftKings, hasn't budged. They're still giving you a great price at plus 120, as well as Bovada. So pretty fascinating. Just kind of following the markets, following the line movements, whatever. And we can just, you can kind of follow along with it and see if it continues to drop or just kind of what happens. So pretty fascinating stuff. So we can actually see, we'll see what happens. We'll see if it continues to move in favor of Ronson. And you'll see this with the NFL too. If you check this, lines really start to move kind of ahead of, the 1 p.m. games and the 4 p.m. games. Like you'll see there be a lot of changes since there's so much action coming into the market, late sharp action, syndicate action, line movements, like a lot of them happen, very close to game time. So I'm not sure exactly what that means. What do you mean? And then we can kind of see as well, just like, okay, the common view of OddsJam, which is just how do we feel about specific plays? So we can take a look and see what's out there. So what plays do we like? Where is the value? So where's the value right now? Let's take a look. First play that we're going to hammer is going to be shit, man. We got a few options. We could play a parlay when both your legs are positive EV. What's your parlay? It's positive EV. But regardless, what we can do is first lock in Old Dominion plus 4.5. My dad went to college there. So let's go ahead and let's lock it in. And it's his birthday. So we'll go ahead and we'll lock this in for $525, right? This play looks incredible. So this is just like data-driven, rational sports betting. PointsBet has this minus 135. DraftKings minus 130. Pinnacle minus 122. Every sportsbook is telling you, hey, this bet should be a heavy favorite, right? FanDuel is kind of like, that one sportsbook that's just way off from everybody else. They actually have, ODU plus 4.5 as the underdog. So, which is crazy if you think about it, because look at Bet Online and kind of every sports book. Most sports books have the spread at 4 or even 3.5. We're getting plus 4.5 at minus 105, and every sports book is pricing this as a heavy favorite. So we locked it in. That will be our first play. I love this play. ODU plus 4.5 tonight. So let's go ahead. Let's lock it in. ODU plus 4.5. We hit it for 525 at minus 105 odds. And this game's today. And again, this is just like data-driven, rational sports betting, right? The positive EV page, you can kind of learn the math of how to back out your profit margin, no vig odds, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like sportsbooks charge you a 3, 4, 5% spread typically, which is known as the vig, right? Every sportsbook has different odds. So what you can do is you can ruthlessly compare lines between bookmakers for those few rare betting opportunities, where you're actually beating the vig. In ODU plus 4.5, I mean, that's just an incredible bet. Minus 135, minus 130, minus 122. We're getting minus 105, no brainer. So, and we can keep going. Yeah, the last one was Beta. They're on a new YouTube channel. You can feel free to. It's called Odds Jam Bets. You can feel free to check it out. And we can continue if you're talking about Bob and Mike. So we can reload and then just see what else is out there. And as always, don't hesitate. Any questions you have, any bets like this one, definitely worth locking in. ODU plus 4.5 at minus 105 odds on FanDuel. Pretty high profit margin. We hit it for $525. So when you hit a bet for $525, we're on ODU plus 4.5. And this play has a profit margin of 2.83%, right? So our bet is worth, quite simply, mathematically quantified, $14.86 in profit margin in EV. You try to give me, a $10 bill for my bet. I'm not going to trade it with you. My bet's worth 2.83% times 525. So just like, following data, there's some basic math, basic strategies you can learn behind sports betting, but really, just about finding value enough to beat the vig, right? To be a profitable bettor, you don't have to win every bet. It's not how it works, right? Most sports books charge, if you look at the NFL, for example, kind of the most common juice, right, is the classic minus 110 juice. Bet 11 to win back 10. That's a sportsbook's advantage, right? On over-unders, totals, sides, spreads, whatever, they say bet 11 to win back 10. So if you win, you win 10. If you lose, you're always losing 11. So that's the sportsbook's advantage. That's the vig, right? But when you're betting at minus 110 odds, you only need to win. So we can go here. You only need to win 52.38% of your bets to break even, right? Like if, let's say we placed, let's say we placed 5,000 total bets at minus 110 odds. So let's say we place 5,000 bets. Yeah, I'll just type this out. So we place 5K bets at minus 110 odds. So let's just assume we did that, right? how many would we need to win to break even? So you would need to win this number, right? So you would need to win this number, and you could lose this number, right? So 1 minus this number times 5,000. So you don't need like to win that much, right? You need to win more than you lose, of course, if you're betting at minus 110 juice. But if you did that, and let's say our stake was 110 bucks, like, it would be this times $100 in profit we're winning when we're betting at minus 110 odds. And then the rest of the time we're losing $110. So again, your net profit would be zero. But you don't need to win that often. That's the entire point. You only need to win 52.4% of your bets to break even. That is the sportsbook's advantage on spreads and totals. So really, as a sharp bettor, what you're thinking about is like, how can I find enough value, right, to beat the vig, right, to beat the juice that sportsbooks charge? And like here is a great example of one, right? Like ODU plus 4.5, absolute no-brainer, minus 105 odds. Pinnacle, sharpest bookmaker, pricing at minus 122. And really, the way you think about making money sports betting, getting rich sports betting, whatever you want to think about, is this profit margin is compounding on a daily basis, right? If you could actually find bets with a 1% profit margin, even every single day, and hit them for $1,000, you would earn a 365% return on capital over the course of a year, assuming no compounding. In other words, if you kept the same stake. So these returns compound on a very quick time span, because most games are the same day or a few days away, which is why sharp betting and finding these smaller edges, 2%, 4%, are so profitable in the long run, right? It's why you can make so much money sports betting, right? So we got Michigan State plus 8. Looks like that's coming down to the wire. We can go through some of the bets we hit for today. Texas A&M, Mississippi State under 45.5. We got the Mariners money line. We have over 68, Ohio, Kent State. That looks horrible if it's actually 10-7. If that's the score, we have Ohio plus 8, which was a slam, which looks incredible. So North Texas plus 3.5. It looks like they're winning in our parlay. That's incredible. South Alabama minus 6.5. I mean, lots of plays out there. Georgia minus 27.5. I'm a big fan of Georgia. So a lot of bets open. Hopefully you guys have been able to tail some of these. What are you feeling for the NFL London game? No idea. What do you think? I didn't even know they play in London. How is that this weekend? I mean, I'm not sure. What do you think about Edward Cabrera under 5.5 on FanDuel? How do you calculate the EV percentage? So how you can calculate the EV percentage is you quite simply, it depends on the sports book you want to look at, but the easiest way to do it is you're getting plus 110 odds, right? So the no vig line is minus 100.45. So what you can do is what this no vig odds indicates is how often your bet should win. So we're getting Michael Gallup, assume it looks like it just moved. So assume you actually got this plus 110. You got your bet down. The no vig odds is minus 100.45. So you're winning this bet 50.11% of the time. Right? So every odd has an associated probability, right? Like if something's a favored outcome, if the Mariners are minus 200, then they have to be over 50% to win the game. If a team is plus money, the Redskins or the Commanders are, underdogs tomorrow against the Cowboys, they're going to be at plus money. They're less than 50% to win. So what you can do is just kind of like convert those odds into probabilities. So here, Michael Gallup over 26.5 receiving yards is plus 110, right? We have a 50.11% win probability as seen from the no vig odds. we're betting at plus 110. So if we were to stake $100, your expected value would be 523. So all you need is your win probability and your odds, right? So this is saying, basically, imagine 50% of the time you won $110, 50% of the time you lost $100. Your EV is $5. Prize Picks underdog EV. Let's see. So what we can do, there's actually a link below to sign up for Thrive Fantasy. We just did a video on it, which is an incredible platform, it seems like, because they offer minus 111 juice on 2-pick entries. So this is pretty crazy, right? So I actually have a few plays open. I also have some plays on underdog open as well that we can take a look at. So what do we have? So we'll go to pick 'em. What do we got open? We got, just tons of stuff. We're fading Mahomes. We're fading Justin Jefferson. We're on A.J. Dillon rush attempts. So a lot of plays open. Lamar Jackson under 1.5 will give us 3K tomorrow, which would be sick. Johnson over 5.5 receptions is good on Thrive. So Thrive Fantasy, let's just go through it quickly. I know I made a YouTube video on it, but if you want to understand why we're going to be making some content on it, is on their platform, it's 100 to win, 2 props is 100 to win 360, right? Which you can read right here. 2 out of 2 correctly, you 3.6 times your entry. Okay, so underdog fantasy is 2 picks is 100 to win 300, which is worse. So as a sharp bettor, these differences, make all the difference. So what would be good on Prize Picks, or I apologize, underdog right now? Well, it depends what platform we want to look at, but there's a lot. I guess the best one is still Lamar, under 1.5 passing TDs. I already maxed it. So, it's still Lamar under 1.5, Justin Jefferson under 6.5, and then Colton Wong to record a hit. That would be insane value. 3 picks you want to play on underdog fantasy, at minus 122 odds, minus 122 implied odds. I don't see a play on Cabrera, 2.39%. Cabrera. Well, I guess I filtered out FanDuel, so we'll add in FanDuel and we can take a look. What do I think about this? Seems freaking fantastic. Let's go ahead and let's hit it. And again, we'll be tracking our profit and loss for everything. And the whole point is literally just to show you math wins. As crazy as it sounds, it's going to win, and we'll prove it. So we're going to get 120 on FanDuel, and we're going to hit it. And I'll add this to my sheet. So we have Edward Cabrera under 5.5 Ks, right? That's what we just hit. Under 5.5 Ks, which is a very high EV percentage, as you can see right here. So we had a little less of a stake, 5.24% profit margin. Every single sports book has the under favored, right? There's a lot of money bet on player props, a lot of money, right? And you're able to get plus 100 on the under 5.5 plus money when every sports book has the under juice. Pinnacle has it minus 138. Absolute slam, 5.24% EV. So what we can do is just be like, okay, we bet this plus 100 for $120. This game's today, 10-1. And what we can do here is just add it in, 5.24% profit margin. So our bet has $5 basically, or we bet $120, $6 in EV. So you couldn't give me $5 bill for my bet, right? We're day trading sports, essentially, finding bets that have a mathematical profit margin, which is pretty cool. And it's why sports betting can be super profitable. So what else is available on Underdog on Prize Picks? This play looks great. George Pickens over 2.5 receptions. If you got some stuff to pair it with on Prize Picks, looks great. You got Chase Claypool over 3.5 receptions. That looks great on Thrive Fantasy. Deontay Johnson over 5.5. That I think I already bet. We have Kamara under 3.5 receptions. That looks pretty good. Plus money if you want to dabble with it. We have Yes Run first inning in Rangers Angels. Nerfy Braves game. Even better, play it on WinBet. But what we can do is just kind of like, okay, let's add in all the sports books back and let's get rid of Betfair Exchange, and then we can look for more bets. And obviously, when you're using OddsJam, any sports books you don't use, you can filter out, right? Like you can just go to your settings and anything you're not currently using, just filter it out. Or you don't want to see, like these sports books, they just have so much, there's just so many, odds on these sites, right? You go to innings props, there's all this crap. You go to player totals, you go to correct score, game props, pitcher props, strikeouts, outs, record a win, hits allowed, walks, earned runs. So like you need some way to kind of like sift through all this data and see the information you think is valuable. So that's basically what the EV page does for you. At least it's supposed to do for you. Dang. I think I may be getting a cold. Ooh, Tom Brady under 1.5 passing TDs plus 135. That seems pretty good. We hit these two bets already. That looks pretty good. Rangers first half money line. So what we can do is, even though it's called something different, we can just go to the Texas Rangers game and we can take a look at first half. Plus 130 looks fantastic. So we already have a lot. WinBet lets me bet more than anyone else. So what we'll do is we'll just go here and we'll go to innings. First 5 innings money line plus 130. Give me that. And it's going to make me re-log in. So I'll stop sharing my screen. And again, it's just like you never know when the best bets are going to occur on these platforms, which is, fun. It makes it exciting. Like you never know when the best bets are going to occur. So Rangers first half money line. Why do we love this bet? Right? We just slammed it. So what we can do is just like go here and it's like, okay, like Rangers first half money line. And we hit it for $1,000 at plus 130. What was the profit margin? The profit margin was 3.31%. So this is how, you should, think about sports betting at least. So we have Rangers first half money line for $1,000 at plus 130 odds. It's just like, okay, like Pinnacle, they have the first half handicap, which is essentially first half money line, so it's just not merging into OddsJam. They're giving you the Rangers at plus 116, the Angels minus 130. So if you go to a Novig odds calculator, 116 minus 130, true price plus 122. We're getting plus 130. Do that for every sports book. Bet online plus 110 minus 130. True odds plus 118. We're getting plus 130. So we're always finding value, right, mathematically, in these great line discrepancies where we're just getting so much value in the odds, right? Which is how you make money and beat the VIG. It's a foolproof way to make money and beat the VIG, quite simply. Foolproof way to make money and beat the VIG. It's just math, right? Very basic math. But at the end of the day, like finding value, is what matters. So I'm going to go ahead and filter out this and that very briefly. And then we can take a look, see what else is out there, if anything. So we got the Rangers. We got, tons of stuff available. Yeah, there's a limited amount of time in the day to place bets, but obviously, like, more bets is the merrier, or is merrier. Have you looked into Monkey Knife Fight? We have. The issue is, I think they kind of, if I'm correct, Monkey Knife Fight picks kind of the picks for you. They say here are two players, you can either take their over or the under, so it's a little harder. I don't think you can cancel bets on Prize Picks. Yeah, you definitely can't cancel for this reason if the line moves against you. So beating CLV isn't, required. Like, if you're placing bets right before a game starts, you should always beat the closing line if you're placing a positive EV bet. Whereas if you're placing bets like a week in advance, there's going to be more variation. So your bets could get better or worse. It doesn't really matter. I mean, there are people who start with a $10 bankroll. There are people, not $10 bet size. There are people who start with an $1,000, bet size. It really depends. I'd also just say, like, a lot of people ramp it up. Like, people may say my bankroll's $1,000, but they have more money than that in their bank account. But their sports betting bankroll's $1,000 until they start making money, and then they increase their bankroll to 10,000 very quickly because they're making money. Profitable sports betting. That's a good question. It just kind of, a lot of it's state by state laws. Some states have higher tax rates, so the sports books add more juice and they'll widen their markets, which you'll see kind of happen sometimes on Caesars and or in Tennessee, I believe it definitely happens. Zach Ertz under 4.5 receptions. Looks like this line kind of is getting thrown off, right? Some sports books have the under at minus 120. Some at minus 170, right? Pinnacle and DraftKings just moved to like minus 170. So pretty big line movement, line discrepancy, whatever you want to call it right there. So, but whoever asked the question, like, why not place every bet? It's like, yeah, I mean, in an optimal world, it really is a volume game, right? Like, this is definitely a bet. We bet this minus 105. It's now down to minus 108. You still want to bet it. I mean, if I could rebet it, I would. Maybe they let me rebet it. So what you can do is just like go here, and we have Old Dominion, and now it's plus 4.5 minus 108. They're only going to give me $15, right? Because, sports books can kind of like cap your wager size. So we already bet it at better odds for $525. So, but that's still a great bet, right? The odds are still very good. And FanDuel's moving it very slowly. They just went minus 106 to minus 108. It's still extremely profitable. So we have 3 bets placed so far, 54.25 in profit margin. ODU plus 4.5, Cabrera under 5.5 Ks, Rangers first half money line. Value in the odds, mathematical sports betting. It's foolproof. Really is foolproof. So, see what else is out there. Royals money line. I don't have Bally bet yet, but I guess I should probably get this sports book if I'm going to be here for a bit. You got the Seahawks on the first half spread. Looks like it just moved. So you got to be quick on some of these, right? But anyways, I think I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to go live later, but hopefully this was helpful. You can see some of these MMA lines are moving around. Missouri plus 31. We have Georgia. I could hedge, right? Maybe I do want to hedge. Maybe I do want to middle this. Missouri plus 31 is a positive EV play, right? We have Georgia minus 27.5. So Georgia wins by 4 touchdowns. They win by 30 points, 31 points. We're going to cash our spread bet, but, we could hit that middle. Plus 31. Where's Bet Online? So Bet Online has this minus 110. So that's an opportunity, right? Honestly, I probably should middle this. To be completely honest, I probably should. So 30 versus 31. Who would have thought that was such a big move? They moved from minus 103 to minus 122. So maybe we play a little Missouri. No, nothing bad about taking off a little bit of risk. So we can do is just like reload Caesars. Am I logged in? Am I gonna have to log in? What's up? What's up, player? So what we can do is just let me log into Caesars quick. In Missouri plus 31, it does seem quite good. So if you want to fade Georgia, I'm technically middling it, but if you want to fade Georgia, we can go, Missouri plus 31 on Caesars, assuming you have Caesars Sportsbook. Seems like a great line. So we'll go ahead and we'll hit it for $1,000. And I'll share my screen. What's up, Ed, Brian, Esqueda? So what we can do is just we hit this for $1,000. Missouri plus 31, right? Looks pretty good. What did we have today so far? Central Michigan plus 3. My girl lost. This bet was from September 11th. She became a favorite. A lot of plays open. So let's get back to it. We have Missouri plus 31 now. So Missouri plus 31. We hit this for $1,000. And the profit margin was, if we go back to the EV page, of Missouri plus 31 was 0.78%. So not high, but very clearly very good, right? So, and also we're hedging a little bit, right? This was positive EV. WinBet was giving us way too good of a line on Georgia. We got minus 27.5, right? And we just hedged out with a little bit of Missouri plus 31. So hopefully Georgia wins by 28 points, 29, 30, even 31, because then I'm pushing and winning, if that makes sense. So this is Missouri plus 31. Just a lot of points. So hopefully it's a big day for Georgia still, since we have more money on Georgia side, which is crazy because Missouri is not like a bad football program. It's more crazy just how good Georgia is. We bet minus 27.5 at minus 110 on WinBet. Now it's best offered at minus 150. So pretty crazy value. Big fan. So prize picks. Here are 3 picks that look good. Najee, over 2.5 receptions. George Pickens, over 2.5 receptions. Tyler Lockett, over 5.5. This Ertz line moved on us, so we missed it. Chase Claypool still out there. I mean, a lot of plays out there. Damn. Line's always moving. Always good opportunities. You just got to be looking. You really do. It's really, FanDuel is kind of in line with WinBet here, so maybe we skip it. Braves, Mets should be a good game tonight. A lot of underdog fantasy. Again, simply the reason we've been doing some videos on them. So just kind of looking around and refresh. And there's a bunch of different betting tools, obviously, on OddsJam. It's not only EV betting. Like there's different strategies to make money, right? There's what's it called? Middle betting, right? Here you can get the over 49.5 plus 114. On Thrive, you can get minus 111 on the under. So same with Jared Goff, right? So what is going on here? So we can take a look at this actually. So we can take a look at Harris, right? And you can determine for yourself, do you like Harris minus 111 implied odds? Pinnacle has it minus 141. Seems pretty good. Most sportsbooks have this 46.5 rushing yards. Damian Harris doesn't seem horrible. That's for sure. Being able to get under 50.5 at minus 111. Bet Online has the under 45.5 at minus 130. That's a sharp bookmaker. So Harris under seems pretty good. What about Goff? So we can take a look at him. under 253.5, minus 111. Most sports books have the line at 245, 241. That's what the middle betting tool shows you, right? It's just like, where are sports books? Like, they're not even setting the prop line at the same level. It's not even like, so it's different than EV betting in that way, because 49.5, it's not the same bet as 50.5. And what a middle bet will show you is, hey, you can bet the over 49.5 on FanDuel, you bet the under 50.5 on Thrive, and make some good money. Right? So Rams game over 42 points, different opportunities, arbitrage, risk-free money in sports betting. It's a hustle game, but I really recommend, if you haven't, we got a bunch of tutorial videos on arbitrage. It's just like a key concept in markets and sports betting. Like, if you want to make money sports betting, really valuable to, kind of understand and stuff. Troy, plus 135. Caesars just moved to plus 130. Can still grab plus 135 if you're in New York. So lots of bets available. No, because I can't bet on them in my location. And of course, appreciate you all. I'll be back live.